Hello, this is Khush, your local realtor in the Greater Vancouver area and the Fraser Valley, and today we will talk about how to find subdividable lots in the Lower Mainland, mainly Surrey, Delta, Langley, and the cities nearby. Here we go. So every city will have their own set of zoning rules, but the general idea is the same. So there's two important things: OCP and zoning. Zoning is what's currently allowed to be built on the specific lot, and OCP is what the city wants to see on that specific lot in the future. Let's talk about zoning first. Surrey has almost 40 plus different zones, and today we will focus on three: RF, RF13, and RF10. Okay, let's talk about RF zoning first. So this is what majority of Surrey is. Most of your BC boxes, your typical 60s, 70s built houses are situated on RF zone lots. Of course, this is meant for single family dwellings. They could have one secondary suite, but today we're focusing on subdivision. So let's go to the bottom of this page. Okay, for a typical RF zoned lot, the city wants to see minimum 5,000 square feet in Bridgeview or approximately 6,000 square feet in all other areas. And the minimum frontage required is approximately 50 feet, and the minimum depth required is at least 91 feet. So a typical 12,000 square foot lot with 100 feet frontage could most likely be subdivided into two RF zoned lots. We do not need rezoning for now. We'll talk about rezoning later on. So but the problem here is RF zoned lot, 12,000 square feet. It's very hard to find, and even if we do find a 12,000 square foot RF zoned lot, they're very expensive. So the solution to that would be to find a smaller lot, but a smaller lot cannot be subdivided. So we have to go through a process called rezoning. So we need to change the RF zone to another zoning, which we'll talk about later on. Okay, so our problem is we do not have a 12,000 square foot lot. We only have, let's say, an 8,000 square foot lot. Can we subdivide an 8,000 square foot lot into two lots? Possibly. Let's see how. So we need to go through a process called rezoning. So we need to rezone an RF zoned lot to RF13 zoned lot. But of course, not every RF zoned lot can be rezoned to RF13. There's some requirements. Let's look at them. Of course, the major requirements are it has to be designated urban in the OCP. This is honestly like 80% of Surrey is urban. There's some suburban, some agriculture, but most of the city is urban. So this is not the main problem. The main problem lies in the subdivision. Okay, so the minimum lot size that the city would like to see in RF13 is approximately 3,600 square feet. And for a corner lot, the minimum lot size required is approximately 4,100 square feet. Of course, times 2, 8,000 square feet. So a typical 8,000 square feet RF zoned lot, which has an 80 feet frontage, could most likely be subdivided into two RF13 lots, as long as it is an urban OCP, has 80 feet frontage, and is more than 8,000 square feet. Now let's say you do not have an 80 feet frontage lot, you only have, say, 65 feet. Can you subdivide? Possibly. So now let's look at RF10 zone lots. So they are meant for small, narrow OCP designated urban lots, primarily with the back lanes. So if you have a back lane and if you have 65 feet frontage, then you can even, you don't need the 80 feet frontage, you could subdivide into RF10 zone lots. So let's look at the subdivision requirements. Okay, so you typically, for an RF10 zoned lot, you don't need a big lot. You only need approximately 6,000, 7,000 square foot typical lot. But of course, the frontage cannot be 59 or 60. It still needs to be at least 63, 64 feet, and then you can subdivide a typical 7,000, 7,500 square foot lot into RF10 zoned lot. The only big requirement is it has to have a backlane. That's the big requirement for RF10. For RF13, you do not need a backlane, but you need 40 feet frontages. Okay, as a quick reminder, if you have RF zoned lot and you want to subdivide an RF zoned lot without rezoning, you need 100 to 120 feet frontage and a 10,000 to 12,000 square foot lot. If you have a smaller 80 feet frontage and an 8,000 square foot lot, then you need to rezone it to RF13. And if you have an even smaller 65 feet frontage or 7,000 square foot lot, as long as it has a backlane, you could subdivide it into RF10 zoned lot. Alrighty, so that was a very quick overview for how to find subdividable lots in Surrey. Very quickly going over to other cities, let's say Delta, you usually need 74 feet frontage, 75 feet, and a 7,500 square feet lot. As long as it's not in the SFR or single family residential zoning, it should be in the OCP says ISF or infill zoning. And let's say Port Coquitlam, it's very similar. You usually need 66 feet frontage and the bigger lot. Typically it's like 66 by 132 or approximately 8,700 square feet lot. But it should not be in R OCP, it should be in RSL OCP. You can find everything online. Literally just Google Port Coquitlam GIS or Port Coquitlam zoning bylaws or North Delta zoning bylaws, and you'll find all the specific information that you need. But of course, if you need any specific information about like any, let's say wherever you live in Langley, Vancouver, just shoot me a message and then I'll let you know exactly how to find a subdividable lot. And if you like these specific analytical type videos, please consider subscribing, because I'll be posting very consistently now. Anything related to, let's say, Vancouver all the way to Chilliwack, anything subdivision related, any multifamily zoning, any profit margins for builders. So if you like that sort of numbers games, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.